Orders of the day.
Ballot item number 33, private member's notice of motion number 58, MPP Cooper.
I recognize the member for Eglinton Lawrence.
So I move that in the opinion of the House, the Government of Ontario should establish a special prosecution unit for hate crimes.
MPP Cooper has moved private member's notice of motion number 58. Pursuant to Standing Order 100, the member has 12 minutes for her presentation.
Speaker, Ontario is strong because of its people. It thrives because of its diversity, because of the countless cultures, religions, languages, and traditions that come together to form one province. What makes Ontario exceptional is not that we are all the same, but that we have chosen, generation after generation, to live side by side with mutual respect, dignity, and a shared commitment to opportunity. That is the promise of Ontario. But hate threatens that promise. Hate is not confined to one community. It does not stop at one neighborhood. When hatred takes root, it erodes trust, fractures communities, and weakens the very foundation of our society. Hate diminishes us all. And Speaker, the data now confirms that many communities are already feeling. According to Statistics Canada, hate crimes in Canada have surged, rising more than 80% between 2019 and 2022. That trend has continued with nearly 4,900 police-reported hate crimes in 2024. Importantly, Ontario accounts for nearly half of all police-reported hate crimes in Canada, making this not only a national issue, but one that is especially urgent here at home. And the situation in Ontario itself has continued to deteriorate. Between 2020 and 2024, police-reported hate crimes in Ontario rose from 702 incidences to 1,190 incidences, an increase of approximately 70% in just 4 years. This is not a spike. It is a sustained and deeply concerning rise. But within that broader increase, one reality stands out clearly and consistently: the disproportionate targeting of Jewish Canadians. In 2024, approximately 68% of all religion-motivated hate crimes in Canada targeted the Jewish community. Nearly 7 in 10. Jewish Canadians make up less than 1% of the population, yet remain the most targeted religious group year after year. And here in Toronto, anti-Jewish hate crimes account for a significant share of reported incidences, once again making the Jewish community the most targeted. Speaker, these are not just statistics. They are a warning. And they reflect a lived reality. I rise today not only as a member of provincial parliament, but as a Jewish woman who represents a riding with a large and vibrant Jewish community. And I want to speak plainly about what that means today. Because of my religion, when we attend synagogues, we require security cameras and armed guards just to pray. Because of my religion, our children go to school with police parked outside, sometimes with officers on horseback patrolling nearby. Because of my religion, police presence has become a normal part of daily life in our neighborhood. Not because of anything we have done, but simply because of who we are. We are targeted. It has become normalized for protests to take place in our neighborhoods, where families live, where children walk to school, where vile and hateful things are shouted at us and at our children simply because we are Jewish. We are spit at, we are yelled at, we are made to feel like strangers in our own communities. And Speaker, the situation has escalated beyond words. In my neighborhood, only 2 weeks ago, a Jewish-owned business had been shot at, targeted simply because the owner is Jewish. Synagogues have been riddled with bullets in my neighborhood and adjoining neighborhoods. A Jewish girls' school was also shot at. Businesses and parks have been graffitied with hateful, vile messages targeted towards the Jewish community. This is not abstract. This is not theoretical. This is happening here in Ontario right now. And this is unacceptable. Speaker, this is not the Ontario I grew up in. And it is not the Ontario we should accept for anybody, for any background, from any religion, or from any cultural community. Because of this, if this can happen to one community, it can happen to any community. And this is why this matters to every single member in this House. We often stand here and say hate has no place in Ontario, but words alone are not enough. They must be matched with action, because right now there is a gap. We have dedicated police services, but too often hate crimes are underreported, under-investigated, or under-prosecuted. And Speaker, hate crimes are also among the most challenging offenses in the criminal code to investigate and prosecute, as it can be difficult, particularly for frontline officers in volatile situations, to determine whether a statement crosses the line from constitutionally protected free speech to criminal hate speech. That complexity does not lessen the harm, but it does demand greater expertise. And when that expertise is not consistently applied, the message received by victims is not reassurance. It is doubt. Doubt that justice will be served. Doubt that the system is equipped to respond. Doubt that their experience is fully understood. And Speaker, that is something we have the responsibility to fix. This motion did not come forward in isolation. In developing it, I consulted with community leaders, advocacy organizations, and law enforcement. I spoke with those supporting victims, those tracking hate incidences, and those responsible for investigating them. And what I heard was consistent and clear. We need dedicated coordination. We need dedicated specialized expertise. And we need to ensure that hate crimes are not only investigated, but effectively prosecuted, because these cases are different. They are often more complex. They require a deeper understanding of motive, context, and community impact, and they demand consistency in how they are handled. Without that, outcomes can vary, and confidence in the system erodes. That is why I am introducing this private member's motion calling on the Government of Ontario to establish a specialized hate crime Crown Prosecution Unit. A unit that would bring together dedicated, experienced Crown prosecutors with focused expertise in hate-motivated offences. A unit that would ensure consistency across jurisdictions. A unit that would strengthen coordination with police and better support victims through the process. With a dedicated Crown structure and directing these cases to prosecutors with hate crime expertise, we ensure more intensive Crown police partnerships, stronger prosecutions, better outcomes, and enhanced support for victims and communities. The creation of this hate crime Crown Prosecution Unit reinforces this commitment and positions Ontario as a national leader in combating hate-motivated offences. And it sends a clear message that in Ontario, hate crimes will be taken seriously at every stage of the justice system. This is not about symbolism. Other jurisdictions have recognized that specialization improves outcomes, particularly in complex cases with broader societal impact. And hate crimes are exactly that. A dedicated unit would strengthen prosecutions, it would build trust with affected communities, and it would reinforce the principle that justice must not only exist, but be seen to be working. And most importantly, it will bring the perpetrator to justice and make our streets safe for all communities across Ontario. Speaker, this motion is not about one community. It is about all communities. It's about ensuring that every person in Ontario, regardless of their religion, race, or identity, can live openly and safely. It is about ensuring that when someone is targeted because of who they are, they know their government stands with them, not just in words, but in action. And it is about reaffirming what Ontario stands for, a place where diversity is strength, a place where people are free to be who they are, a place where hate is not ignored, but confronted. Speaker, I do not want any children to grow up thinking it is normal to need armed guards to go to school or pray. I do not want any parent to have to explain to their child why they're being targeted for who they are. No community should feel alone in facing hate. We have a responsibility in this House to act, to close the gaps, to strengthen our systems, and to ensure that the values we speak about are reflected in the lived reality of the people we serve. This motion is a step forward. It is practical, it is achievable, and it is necessary. I urge all members of this House on all sides to support it, because standing against hate should never be partisan. It should be a shared commitment, a shared responsibility, and a shared promise to the people of Ontario. Thank you.
Thank you.